welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, obviously welcome to Lifestyle Lisa, and if you're not new and you've checked me out before, then thanks for coming back, because I literally do really appreciate it. So a big thank you. Once again, if you are new though, I would love it if you would stick around, so please hit the subscribe button and give my video a thumbs up, because you honestly don't know how much that means to me. So please, if you like my videos, then subscribe and just see what else I get up to. So today it's Sunday. It's a overcast Sunday here in Essex. I feel like when it's overcast, that's when I kind of want to sit down and vlog. Otherwise I'm out and about doing things. But no, today I thought, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do a little vlog. This is something I thought I was going to carry on doing Florida actually, but I'm not. This is something completely different here. I'm actually going to be talking today about Australia. Now this is something that I didn't think I would talk about. I've done all my vlogs, you can check them out. I went to Australia at the beginning of the year, but I have been getting quite a few questions on Instagram really about in Australia in such a short amount of time. We did it in 10 days, and that includes travel. So Luke and I had a really short time in Australia. I think a lot of people were a bit surprised at that and kind of thought we were a bit stupid, and don't get me wrong, there were times when I doubted that myself and I was like, what are we doing? So I thought, right, let's just sit down, let's just have a chill chat about it, let's just talk about doing Australia in 10 days, because honestly I think it can be done. So we're going to rewind. We're going to rewind to just a little bit of background information actually. I love travel. I love to travel, but I haven't always been like that. I never wanted to travel. So you know when most people are in their sort of late teens, early 20s, they don't have a mortgage, they don't have a dog, they don't have marriage, don't have a husband, they are literally young, free and single. So they go out and do all that cool stuff, like travel the world and backpack here, there and everywhere. That was not for me. I couldn't have thought of anything worse. I was like, I never want to travel. It's just not my thing. I just want to go on nice holidays. But then I met Luke and he just completely changed my outlook on stuff. Like, he was so adventurous and such a kind of get out there and do things. Like, that kind of made me want to be like that. You know, before I met Luke, I never even owned a pair of jeans. That's an absolute true story. So meeting Luke really it changed my whole perspective on everything. So Luke and I then started to travel together. You know, we did the normal stuff like Florida, and we road tripped a little bit across Europe. And then we kind of got into the bigger destinations. Like we went to Seychelles, which was amazing. And then for our honeymoon, we did Bora Bora, which was epic. It was absolutely epic. It took ages to get there. We had the best time. And that's when it really hit me that I was like, the world is just so big and life is just so short that I just want to get out there and see as much of it as I possibly can. And that's when I really thought no, I want to travel. I want to see so much of the world. So Luke and I were actually on our honeymoon. And I remember it, we were actually just chilling on the beach, and I said what should we do next year for our holiday? So our honeymoon was December 2022. So I said to Luke, what should we do in 2023? I said I really fancy Australia, and for the record, I have never wanted to go to Australia. I have got such a big phobia of spiders. I've got better as I've got older. I definitely don't kill them. I've definitely grown up a lot. I try and rescue as many animals as I can. The big spiders, the big house spiders really freak me out. I'm better with smaller ones. Spindle leg spiders, I can actually pick them up if I'm wearing marigolds. But if you'd asked me 10 years ago if I ever thought I'd step foot in Australia, the answer is absolutely no. I never thought I'd go to Australia, because the way I looked at Australia was everything can and will kill you. It's poisonous, it can eat you, it's got most venom. So Australia was definitely out of the question. But when I spoke to Luke about it on our honeymoon, he was like, yeah, sounds amazing. And then I got back to the UK in late December 2022 and mentioned it to my sister, and she was like, well, hold fire on it, because we're actually going to go in January of 2024 for a wedding. Why don't you guys do your own thing, but come out there, and then we all meet up and do a little Australian road trip together. So I was like, yeah, absolutely all over that. So didn't go to Australia last year, but you can check out my travel vlogs from 2023, which were Florida and Iceland. So please go and give those a check. So yeah, that's kind of like, in a nutshell, a little bit about me and how I want to travel and how I never wanted to travel, and how Australia was just a big fat no. Like, it never appealed to me. I never kind of would look at people's travel photos from Australia and think like, oh my God, like amazing. However, can I just say, absolutely insane. Like, I love Australia. So please don't come at me, because honestly, I absolutely love it. And I was super naive. You know, I didn't see one poisonous spider or snake that wasn't in a zoo. So please don't come at me with that, because it is amazing. So let's kind of like bring you up to speed. Luke and I booked our trip to Australia on December the 28th, 2023. So we flew on February the 3rd, 2024. So I like to call that like an impromptu trip, because it basically was impromptu, right? So again, we had to hook up with my sister a lot. There was a lot of chat with my sister and her husband Henry, because we needed to be in certain areas so we could all meet up. Laura and Henry actually flew a week before us so they could attend a wedding, and then Luke and I flew out a week later and had a couple of days by ourselves, and then met up with Laura and Henry. So everything, once again, like most of my trips really now are depackaged, and we just kind of go along and we grab our flights, and then we get our hotels, and we kind of build our package ourselves. That's what we do. Like I said in my previous vlog regarding doing Florida, my sister has worked in travel, and my sister and Luke are both like super good at like finding really, really good deals and really good prices and really good values. So they're amazing. Henry and I are just more like the travel prince and princesses. But anyway, so that aside. So because we were fitting in with my sister and Henry, we had to kind of fit it around Luke's work. He had some meetings that he needed to be back for. So it was going to work out that we didn't really have a long time. But I, again, wasn't too worried about that, because I know as a couple, and certainly as a four, I know that we're not the type of people that will spend a long time chilling. Like, if we only have a short amount of time, we're gonna get out, we're gonna do everything we possibly can, and we're gonna want to see as much as we can. I knew I was gonna struggle with jet lag, but I was just trying to like put that to the back of my mind and just get on with it and just go for it and not waste any time, because it was such an epic opportunity to be able to go to Australia. So we left Essex on Friday night, Friday the 2nd. We drove to Heathrow. We stayed overnight in Heathrow. We had an 8:55 in the morning flight from Heathrow. So we flew Qatar Airlines all the way. So we flew from London Heathrow to Qatar, have to think then. We literally had an hour and a half, 2 hours max at Qatar airport, which is called Hamad International. I'm just going to give you a little heads up if you are flying in to Hamad International. Lovely, beautiful airport, like absolutely stunning. When we got off, we went through security. Our bags were going to go onto the connecting flight, because as I said, it was Qatar Airways the whole time, so we didn't have to change airlines or anything, or aeroplanes. So it kind of like, our baggage just knew where to go, put it that way. Luke and I went through security, and then we grabbed 2 drinks because we were really thirsty. And then as we were just about to board, you go through another screening. So you have to go through the scan-ins again, and they do not let you take your water through. So all liquid will get confiscated. Doesn't matter if you've just bought it. So just be warned. Luke and I had 2 like massive bottles of water and a smoothie each, and we were trying to drink it really quickly, because then we had to bin it. So yes, my sister also said it was like that because she actually flew from Stansted Airport she flew via Emirates, and she flew into Dubai, and it was the same. She also got water, went to thought she was all through, went to board, go through another scan, have to take the water off them. So I have told you, just giving you a heads up, okay? Yeah, so we didn't get to do much in the airport, which is a shame, because it was a beautiful airport and I feel like it would have so much to offer. But literally, when you've got like an hour and a half, 2 hours, you just like want to get to the place where you need to be. So we didn't do anything. Like I said, we just kind of like then hung around the area ready to board again. And then we boarded and on our way to Australia. Qatar Airways, amazing. I have never flown Qatar before. Absolutely love them. I was economy. We had the middle row. So the plane section was a 3, a 4 and a 3. And I said to Luke, I'd rather have the 4 in the middle because I don't want to have a 3 and then we've either got somebody on the end that I'm going to have to move if I need to go to the toilet, or equally like that's going to move me if they need to go to the toilet. So I said, let's just have a 4 because then Luke and I have got our exit and the other 2 people have got their exit. I was the one that sat next, like I gave Luke the aisle seat, then it was me, and then I had a random person next to me. Honestly, not a bother. I thought I wouldn't like it. I don't normally like things like that, but actually not a problem at all. The first flight from Heathrow to Qatar was just over 6 hours and it was an absolute breeze. The film selection was amazing, the food was amazing, and then we had Qatar to Sydney, which was 14.5 hours, and again, no problem at all. Film selection was amazing, food was absolutely amazing, so much food, so nice. Had a little nap as well, and yeah, and then we landed. So it was boring, don't get me wrong, flights do get boring after a while, don't they? It doesn't really matter where you go, but it was fine, we did it, there was no bother. Yeah, it was a really cool flight, to be honest, but it was long. You know, there was a point where I was a bit like, oh my gosh. But they feed you so much. So God knows what, you know, business class, first class would be like. I can only imagine it would be absolutely amazing. But that wasn't me, and I'm fine with that. That's the one thing that actually doesn't bother me, is flying first class or business class, probably because I've never done it, I will be honest. But even when we went on our honeymoon, we didn't pay to upgrade or anything, because my stance on that is we're all going to get to the same place at the same time, and I'm cool. I'd rather have more holidays than spend out quite a lot of money on going first class, business class, but each their own. I mean, like I said, I've never done it, so maybe if I did it just one time I'd be completely like all for it, so I can't knock it till I try it, right? So yeah, we landed in Sydney late afternoon. Nice and easy to get through customs. Everything was just so cool, so easy. We picked up a taxi from the airport, which was going to take us to our hotel. We got it there, and then we didn't pre-book or anything. And our first hotel that we were going to check in Sydney was called the Kith Hotel. You can see it on my vlog. I did a room tour. It was so cute. It was everything that you just needed. It was just a tiny room. It had a bed, a shower, a toilet, a sink, somewhere to hang your clothes. It was just all compact, and it was amazing. And it was literally like a 5-minute walk from the Darling Harbour. So you were literally, you walk out your hotel room, 5 minutes later, you're in the vibrant Darling Harbour area where there's so much going on. There's bars, nightclubs, there's restaurants, and it's, you know, all around the most amazing harbour, which I did call Sydney Harbour for a while, but anyways, it wasn't, it was Darling Harbour. So it was absolutely amazing. Obviously Luke and I were really tired, so we didn't really do a lot. We kind of went out, grabbed a coffee. I was so full from everything I'd eaten on the plane, so I didn't need to eat anything. It was so nice just to get out and stretch our legs, you know, just grab a coffee, look at our surroundings. And also because the flight had been like so long, I felt really swollen. You know, I got there, changed into some summer stuff, and like it didn't really fit that well. I had so much excess water going around my body because I think I'd just been sat on planes really with only an hour and a half in between. So it was just really nice, stretch out, like I said, have a coffee, just take in the surroundings and the sights. And then Luke and I headed back to the room, showered, and literally fell asleep. We set our alarms originally for like 8 o'clock the next morning because we thought we'll get up at 8 and then we'll leave the hotel by 9, ready to have like a walk around and do something. Oh no, I was awake by 4:30, never managed to go back to sleep. Like, what is that even about? Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I was so like wide awake, and then I was like, I just want to be outside. I could see the sun was streaming in. I was like, it's sunny, I'm in Australia, I can't believe it, someone pinched me. It was really hard to adjust. Luke eventually woke up about 7 and we were just absolutely starving. So we were like, right, let's just get up, let's just get out of this hotel and let's just see what it's like outside, what Australia has to offer, and yeah, and let's just grab some food. Like literally so hungry. So we had 2 whole days in Sydney by ourselves, and then on the 3rd day we were meeting up with Laura and Henry. So we had a Monday and a Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday we were going to meet up with Laura and Henry, and that's when we were going to kind of combine our trip. So Luke and I knew that we had like 2 full days to do whatever we wanted, and on the Monday the weather was exceptionally beautiful. I mean, we're talking about like 36 degrees. It was so hot, ridiculous. So of course when it's like 36 degrees and you've got jet lag, the best thing to do is go off hiking around Sydney. I mean, yeah, right? That is exactly what we did, and I was not prepared. And I kick myself even to this day for not being prepared, because I wore the worst pair of sandals I think I have ever owned in my entire life. And let me tell you, they gave me 10 blisters, and the blisters were so bad. Normally, if I go to Florida, I always get like padded cushioned shoes, you know, like memory foam, but I was not expecting to do the level of walking that I did in the 36 degree heat. So annoyed at myself, honestly, because my feet, oh my god, it was like walking on glass. It literally was like walking on glass. But I was only here for like a short amount of time, so I'm like, I've got to power through it. I've literally got to power through it. But I didn't bring a change of shoes either, so I was a bit like, I didn't want to say too much, I didn't want to like make a big thing of it, but equally I was like, I'm gonna have to get out of these shoes. I had to buy another 2 pairs of shoes because I bought 1 pair of like flip-flops and they were just worse than ever. And then I bought a pair of Havaianas and they were like marginally better, but listen, they weren't great. And in the end, I was just like trying to walk along with nothing on my feet. Luckily, you're in Australia and people don't really frown upon that because it's kind of like a surfing vibe and everyone's really chill. But even so, even walking like in bare feet, that was painful. Honestly, you have been told, take actual walking shoes, seriously. Like take more, not walking boots, but take something really substantial. So making the most of everything, like I said, we actually did the Chinese Friendship Garden, which was like amazing. We also did the Sydney Harbour House, just had a look around it though. So we didn't like go in it or anything, but it was, I needed to like see it. We also did the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And again, we actually paid to go up to the top, not walk over it. Don't get confused with that. We paid to go over the top, go up to the top because I've got 10 blisters, 5 on each foot. Why wouldn't we pay to go up the top? The views were absolutely incredible and I absolutely loved it, so I do highly recommend it. I think we walked about 6.5, 7 miles in 36 degree heat with 10 blisters. So day 1 was really full on, and of course along the way, like, Luke is just amazing for finding all these great little lookout spots and photo opportunities and just finding like really good stuff. You know, oh, we must have a photo done here, we must get a photo of this. He's so good at things like that. So as much as like I was struggling, I still absolutely loved everything about it. It was hard and it was so hot, like you're gonna hear me change my tune as I go into this vlog, but you know, I could never look back on my first day in Sydney and say like we didn't do anything. We did so much. By the time it got to like 5 p.m, Luke and I were both like really hot, and that's when jet lag, funnily enough, started to set in for both of us as well. Kind of like started to flag a little bit. Flag. We started to kind of slow down a little bit and we were both kind of yawning, and I knew that we were both pretty tired. So we decided to get an Uber back to the hotel. There's Ubers everywhere, so it's super easy to find an Uber. And then we were going to freshen up and go out for dinner. Unfortunately, jet lag had other plans and we fell asleep. We woke up at 8:30 p.m, so we ordered takeout. We actually ordered lobster roll, which you can find on Deliveroo, and it was just everything that I needed. So yeah. Day 2, obviously another day in Sydney. This is where things just get a little bit different. It was absolutely freezing, I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, Luke and I were both awake by 6:30. We were out the hotel room by 7:30. I was literally so excited to have more heat. I put on my Converse, I was like ready for the day. I was like, right, that's it, let's tackle the day head on, let's do everything. Stepped outside, honestly cold. Now I'm a cold person anyways. I always feel the cold. So I'd only packed very light summer stuff, like a lot of play suits. In fact, I think that's all I packed. Also, I don't go anywhere without my rain mat because I'm very sensible in that sense. So yeah, I was very shocked. Sort of stepped outside, it was very windy. I think they had like a little tropical storm had headed their way, which was just so typical. So it was absolutely chucking it down, and therefore I think with the jet lag, being super tired, it just hit wrong. And I was quite disappointed. Obviously you can't change the weather, and the weather does not affect the scenery at all. Everything was still open, you know, and beautiful, but I always thought I'd go to Australia more for the sun. But anyways, it didn't matter. Well, nothing I could do about it, is there really? So the plan for Luke and I to, like I said, maximise the most out of being in Sydney as we were on our second full day was to hit the beaches. Obviously, as you'll know, Australia is absolutely famous for its beaches. So I didn't want to go home and have not seen any of the beaches. And I was so desperate to step foot on Bondi Beach. Honestly, I have been watching Bondi Rescue for as long as I can remember. So I have always wanted to step foot on Bondi Beach. It is literally iconic. So they have water taxis, which is like amazing. They're super cheap to travel on, and they're very convenient, quick and easy. Like I said, we were on Darling Harbour anyway, so you can pick up your water taxi from Darling Harbour. We headed to Manly Beach, we did Watson's Bay, Rose Bay, and obviously the absolute iconic Bondi Beach. The weather being the way it was meant that the beaches was totally empty. They're not what I was expecting at all, seeing as I've seen Bondi Beach when it's been packed on TV. So it was so weird to kind of, there were some surfers doing their thing, and I was like, wow, it's amazing to watch, but yeah, empty. So it was nice to set foot on the sand, have some photo opportunities, and just take in the scenery because it is all so beautiful. And I guess maybe because it was raining, there wasn't a lot of people there, we got to see maybe more, and it wasn't crowded. So you kind of had to take the positives from the fact that it was absolutely freezing. I'm not joking. Like, honestly. Even Luke was cold. He'll argue with me and say like it wasn't that cold, but it literally, it was cold. So yeah, it was a busy day, and we did cover, again, quite a lot of ground. But like I said, I had my Converse on, even though the blisters were so painful. I actually had to stop in the morning and get lots of blisties, is it? So I had like blister plasters on every part of my foot. It looked like super attractive, but anything to curb the pain, just so I could like keep on going. After walking 9 miles, over 9 miles can I say, and well over 22,000 steps, seriously, getting in the steps here, that's more than I do in Florida. Luke and I headed back. We didn't bother changing. We were just living life a little bit more dangerously because we thought if we go back, we're gonna lay down on the bed, we're gonna fall asleep, we're gonna miss dinner. So we literally went back very quickly so I could get a jumper, and then we headed back to Darling Harbour and we ate at the Adria restaurant, which is situated on Darling Harbour, which I highly recommend. It is really nice food, very lovely service, and if the weather was lovely, it would have been really nice sitting out over the harbour, but obviously we had a lot of rain coming in. But I highly recommend that. Again, that should be on my vlog, or at least I should have spoke about it. But yeah, it's just about not missing anything out when you're in Sydney, right? I think by day 2, I learned that jet lag would hit at about 5 o'clock every day. So that was the time when I was getting the most tired. And jet lag again would affect when I woke up. So I'd be waking up about 6 a.m. every morning. So it was just so hard. I thought it was going to last for like maybe a day or 2. But as I kind of got into my 3rd day, I was like, this isn't something that I'm going to get over very quickly. And I guess that's because we just didn't have a lot of downtime. I know like a lot of people I speak to go to Australia for, you know, 3-4 weeks, maybe even longer. So I think the body just has more time to adjust. Luke and I were on such a short schedule that we just had to like man up and get on with it. So we didn't have that downtime to kind of like chill and everything, which was a shame. But it is what it is, isn't it? You know, you just get on with it, right? So yeah, when I woke up on day 3, I did hope that the weather was going to be nicer. It was maybe a little nicer, but it was still pretty chill, which was a shame because after I'd had the 36-degree weather on the Monday, I was really just sort of like into that, and I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, it was chilly, but not as chilly as the day before, thank goodness. So that was a little bit better. I think like you do start to get some, you did start to get some warm patches where it was kind of did feel more summery, but then that was very short-lived, and again, the cold weather would soon come in. I think it was just the rain and the wind. So I guess my advice is just always pack to cover all eventualities. You know, I saw some locals like wearing tights and coats, and I'm like, good shout. Like, I wish that was me kind of thing, and it wasn't. But I didn't pack accordingly, and that was my own fault. So I was stupid me. Luke and I didn't have breakfast included. Actually, no, I don't even think that was on offer at the Kif Hotel. But anyways, we wouldn't have wanted to do that because we just love heading out and finding cute little, you know, cafes and bistros to eat in. So have a look around if you're staying in the area, because Darling Harbour has got so many. Again, just refer back to my vlog because I can tell you where I ate. And I also do have a day-by-day blog over at Lifestyle Lisa, so you can actually catch up with everything there as well. So I'm not going to go into too much about that now, but definitely get out, have a look, because there are some absolutely beautiful little breakfast places that you will come across. Because it was like our last day in Sydney, Luke and I, again, didn't want to waste any time and just see as much as possible. So we actually headed to the Wildlife Australia Zoo, which is situated conveniently on Darling Harbour. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be because it looks really small from the outside, but actually once you get in, it was really cool, and there was quite a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was good. And I would give that a thumbs up, and I definitely recommend it, 100%. So conveniently situated as well, and not overly busy, for me anyways. Maybe it will be now if it's like summer holidays, but it was cool. After that, Luke and I headed off to the shopping centre because I got wind that there was a Bath and Body Works in that shopping centre, and I needed to stock up. Whoever told me there was Bath and Body Works in that shopping centre was not wrong. And I was more than happy to step in there and stock up on my hand sanitizers. If you know me, you will know that I am literally obsessed with Bath and Body Works, especially the hand sanitizers. And yes, I know they do them over here now in the UK in Next, but honestly, they're so much more expensive over here than what you can get the deals like in America. And I even got quite a good deal in Australia as well. So whilst I'm anywhere where I can stock up, I'm literally going to stock up. The final two stops of the day for Luke and I was the Sydney Tower Eye, which has the most amazing panoramic unspoilt views of Sydney. You can see for miles. It's well worth going up there. It's absolutely beautiful. I could just spend forever up there just looking out at Sydney, which is just absolutely stunning. And then Luke and I did head off to the Sydney Opera House. Now, we actually didn't get to go inside. You have to book for a tour to go inside. Didn't realise this before I went. There were no more slots that day, so unfortunately I couldn't have a tour around the Sydney Opera House, but I did have a look around outside, and to be honest, I was happy with that because it's such an iconic building. I've seen this building so many times before in movies and on TV, that to actually be there and sit on those steps with that behind me was insane, and I will never forget that. So it was amazing, but maybe it would have been nice to go in. I don't know. I won't know. So just double check that before you go. With Summing Up Sydney, like I said, I was only there for 3 days, and I loved every single second of it. There is literally so much to do, and I know that I only scratched the surface. I didn't have long there, and I think had I have had longer, I would have absolutely done so much more. But I cannot knock what I did while I was there. It's just, for me, it was just about getting out, getting things done, and just not worrying about the jet lag. Even though the jet lag was brutal, I knew that if this could, you know, I might not go back for another 10, 15 years, or maybe ever. Maybe I won't go back to Sydney again. So I just knew that I wanted to get everything done. So on day 4, we headed off to the Gold Coast. So we met up with my sister and we met up with Henry. or like I say, the Barnses. And yeah, we were going to be traveling to the Gold Coast. We were flying. We flew via Rex Airlines, which in my opinion is like EasyJet. So it's just nice and easy, like budgety, no thrills, perfect, right? So yeah, we had a 12:30 flight and we landed, so it took about 1.5 hours basically, so it's not long at all. Tea and coffee served on the plane, we took our own snacks, just very chill really. When I stepped out the airport, I was so happy because it was actually like warm, like so much warmer. So I'm like, yes, I've traveled up a little bit and the weather's got like so much warmer. So that was really good. Checked into our really gorgeous apartment, which was Cocoa Broadbeach, and we were on the 27th floor. Literally obsessed with the views. Honestly, I could not be any more obsessed with the view. It was absolutely gorgeous. I actually had positioned myself when I would do my makeup in the morning to at the window just so I could look at the amazing view, and actually I didn't want to shut the curtains at night because just rolling over in the morning and then just looking out on the 27th floor at that view was just, oh my gosh, I'll never forget it. I feel so privileged. It was absolutely beautiful. Very nice apartment as well, really modern, really fresh, really basic. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of stuff everywhere. It was just really nice. I really loved it. Again, you know, we're with the Barnses. As a couple, as two couples, we don't want to miss anything. So we literally dumped our bags, did a quick change, and then we went and got some electric bikes. I know, right? Seriously, bikes. I'm not really a bikey kind of person. I literally cycled around Seychelles once and it was just like the worst thing ever. Equally, I had a little bike around Bora Bora. Again, didn't love it. So I knew that biking around around a part of Gold Coast really wasn't going to be my thing, but I did it. I'm not going to say I was like thrilled about it. I wasn't like jumping for joy, but you know, I did it. Electric bike wasn't so difficult either. You know, it wasn't like I had to do a lot, but even so, I just don't like it. Laura, Luke and myself then headed up to the Sky Point Observation Tower, which is like 77 stories high. Henry, not a big fan of heights, so he did sit this one out. And I have to say, like, I'm super proud of Henry because he doesn't like heights, but, you know, to be on the 27th floor of a hotel was a big thing for him. So literally take my hat off to him, not hats, because I'm not wearing hats. So literally take my hat off to him for doing that. But yeah, Luke, Laura and myself decided to do the 77 stories up at the Sky Point Observation Tower, which again, just stunning, unspoiled, see for miles, just absolutely loved it. You should totally do it. It should definitely be on your list. Because Henry didn't do that, we did want to kind of do something that incorporated him for the last part, because we had, you know, it's our first day on the Gold Coast. We kind of wanted to do something, finish off doing something that we could all do. So we booked an impromptu sunset cruise, which is not ideal for me because boats actually make me incredibly sleepy. So don't forget, I'm still suffering from jet lag. So get me on a boat, that motion just like sends me right to sleep. But anyways, we did all want to do it. And yeah, it was just a really nice way to finish our first day together as a four. Just seeing some sights. They've got some amazing, super expensive houses along the waterways, as you can imagine. And it was just really nice to just chill and end the day, that we've been traveling as well on more of a chilled note, that's also informative, that also you kind of get to see quite a lot in one go. And just to confuse things like even more, Gold Coast was actually an hour behind Sydney, so like my body clock was like literally like, what is going on right now? It was just all over the place, just confusing. But yeah, never mind, right? Because the day had been long, we hadn't had a chance to eat since breakfast, so we actually stopped at Woolworths. Don't get excited, because I actually thought it was going to be like Woolworths that we used to have here, so I was like, pick a mixed sweets, but it really wasn't. It was actually a supermarket. So we actually just got some food and we just took it back to the hotel and we just ate, and then we chilled, and then we fell asleep, and we were like literally ready for the next day. When staying at the Cocoa Broadbeach, there is a lovely little restaurant, quite small, opposite, which is called No Name Lane, and I highly recommend eating in there. They do the most amazing acai bowls and smoothies. It's so easy to eat healthy in Australia. I find it far easier to eat healthy there than I do in America, where I'm so tempted by beignets and pancakes and waffles and thick shakes and lots of frappuccinos with added cream. So when I go to Australia, I do find it's like really amazing that you can totally eat healthy, which is really because on this particular day, day 5, we're going to be celebrating Henry's birthday. After breakfast, we had booked via the Viator app to do something a little bit more fun and a little bit right up our street, really. The 4 of us, we love rides. We go to Florida, we do all the rides. We are adrenaline junkies to a certain degree. So we did the jet boat extreme ride, the tour. Like I said, we booked via Viator, which is like the go-to app. We always book on that. It was so much fun. We got given our life jackets, we got given a safety briefing. The boat seated about, I'd say 12 to 15. The 4 of us took the back row because we wanted to get thrown around more and wanted to kind of get splashed a little bit more. And yeah, for an hour, we were out on the water, we were doing spins, we were doing donuts, we were riding the waves, and it was just absolutely amazing. And also, our driver was also our guide, and he would stop the boat every now and then and tell us some really interesting information about certain parts, certain houses, who lives where, and there's a lot of famous people that live around there. So yeah, we had the absolute best time. It was absolutely amazing. We just wanted to go faster and do more spins and just really kind of like get some good adrenaline, but it was a lot of fun and I totally recommend doing something like that. There is a great shopping centre there called Pacific Fair, which has got some amazing shops. They've got some high-end shops, they've got some, you know, just like normal shops like your Zara's and your H&M, but like I said, the high-end shops, they've got Gucci, for example. We just had a little mooch around there before heading back to the hotel because like I said, it was Henry's birthday, so we were all going out for dinner. We went to Edgware Dining, which was absolutely amazing. Everyone that we spoke to whilst we were there, like all our Uber drivers, were like, it's one of the best places to eat, so I highly recommend eating there as well. It was just a nice way to finish off the day and celebrate someone's birthday as well. And how amazing to have your birthday in Australia. I mean, that is like goals right there. So we were literally only at the Gold Coast for a very short time. So we had one full day, and so a day and a half basically. Because on day 6 we packed up and we were going to head to Brisbane. Obviously we woke up and it was raining, which was a bit of a shame to leave the Gold Coast in the rain, but anyways, it was a Saturday morning. We stopped for breakfast like we always do. Breakfast is so important to like the 4 of us. I think it really sets you up, so as long as you find somewhere to have a really good breakfast. We went to the Elk Espresso. Now you cannot book, you cannot make any kind of reservation when you get there. It's so busy, like loads of people are queuing. It is such a good place to eat, and you know that if you turn up and there's loads of people there, right, waiting. We had to wait only about 15 minutes to get a table, so I don't think that was long at all. And again, had the most amazing overnight porridge bowl, which was absolutely delicious, and I'm so here for healthy breakfast and stuff like that, so highly recommend it from me. We finished up our breakfast, but we were getting a train to Brisbane, so the train, we weren't quite ready, so we wanted to have like a little explore around, you know, while we still had a few hours to kill. Luke and I decided to head to Mermaid Beach to get tattoos. Yes, you heard me right. I'm going to say it one more time. Luke and I headed to Mermaid Beach to get tattoos. Now, don't know who I am. That was my first tattoo. And I think I was just caught up in the moment, and it was just very vibey, and I was in Australia and I'm like, everyone has tattoos, so I got one. Yeah, crazy, right? Sorry, mum. I did apologise to my mum. She does not like them. My sister also actually got a tattoo. She got a tattoo a couple of days prior to that, and it was really funny. She actually got a tattoo done on the day that Luke and I were in travel, like doing the beaches, like Bondi and Manly. And Luke said to me, like, we walked past the tattoo shop and he was like, should we go and get tattoos? And I was like, no, I'm too cold and tired. Like, I just don't want to. But he kind of planted that seed in my head. And I'm like, yeah, actually. When I slept on it and thought about it, I was like, yeah, I do. And I didn't even know my sister got one. And then, yeah, so that's what I did. I'll show you. I will show you. Here we go. So it's a wave and it's a sun and it's a heart. And that kind of just really just cements like just travel to me, like just how much I love the waves, the ocean, the sunsets, and just being with my travel partner, my travel buddy Luke. It's special to me now. And you know, that was like the one big souvenir that I actually come back from Australia with. So how amazing is that, right? If you are interested though, we actually got that done in Westside Tattoo Parlour, which is, like I say, in Mermaid Beach, and they were so lovely. It's my first tattoo, it did not hurt, and I do treasure it. Like, I did question my life choice for a couple of days, especially coming home on the plane when I was like, I'm going back to the UK, like, who do I think I am? But I'm happy with with my decision, and I don't regret it anymore, so good for me, right? Yeah, so we met up with Laura and Henry. It was chucking it down with rain. We had to get the train from Gold Coast, which was going to take us to Brisbane. The train ride was really short. It was about an hour maybe, just over. When we arrived in Brisbane, it was a lot warmer, but it was absolutely chucking it down. So we just went from rain to even more rain, which was like a bit like, never mind. But anyways, we checked into our apartment, which was the Sky Tower, which I feel the name just gives it away. We were on the 79th floor. Yes, Henry, so proud of Henry, honestly. Like, the 27th floor was bad enough, but the 79th floor, that must have been terrible. And there was like a little bit of a moment where he didn't know if he could do it, and we might have to like downgrade and have like a lower room. But we took him up there, he had a look, and he was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And I'm forever proud of him for that. Honestly, I think that's absolutely amazing. So yeah, Henry, thank you so much, because the view was out of this world and it was just so precious. Obviously we haven't eaten since breakfast, so we were like super hungry. So what did we do? We got an Uber, we headed to Eat Street. It is such a vibe, honestly. Like, it is just, there's live music, there's just different foods. Hey, it's okay. Why are you crying? Someone's not happy. There's different foods to try. You know, Indian, Chinese, kebabs, like Korean. There is just so much. And I just loved being there, loved every single second of it. The live music was amazing, trying different foods was amazing, just being in that vibe, it just really, honestly, I highly rate it. So Eat Street, it's very popular, and I think it's only on like a Friday and a Saturday night as well. So yeah, you need to get yourself down there and check that out. Also, you can spend as long as you want there as well. There was like literally so much to do, but we all kind of got to a point where we were like, right, we've had a long day, we've been traveling as well, so let's just get back to the hotel and sleep, ready for day 7 and our first full day in Brisbane. Falling asleep looking out the window on the 79th floor was like something that I'm never going to forget. It was absolutely amazing. Forever thankful that I got to do that as well. But we did have an absolutely amazing sleep. It was a very exciting day waking up on the Sunday, because we were off to Australia Zoo, home of the Irwins, right? Me and my sister grew up watching Crocodile Hunter. We used to absolutely love watching Crocodile Hunter. And I'm all for animals and conservation and looking after animals and, you know, preserving the world in which we live in. I adore animals. I think if anyone knows me, then you would know that. I am always skeptical with zoos, don't get me wrong. I know I said I don't go to SeaWorld, and you know, I'm very hit and miss with zoos, but the conservation efforts that go into Australia Zoo, I just feel like the world just needed more Steve Irwins. Like, the world just would be a better place with more people like him. It was such an emotional place to visit, because I found him such an inspirational person. Like I said, grew up watching him, and it was just so nice just to watch the passion that they have and the love that they have and what they want to do for animals of the world. And like I said, conservation is absolutely amazing. So this is one place that I do really recommend that you go. Yeah, we spent, you know, a good whole day here. It wasn't that busy. I feel like that's because when we went, you know, we went sort of February time, didn't we? But also I think because it's such a vast area, you're not always on top of people, so it was just very spread out, and I just loved every second of it. Crocodiles, I find them amazing. I loved seeing the crocodiles. I'm used to seeing gators when I go to Florida, so that was like, wow. But equally, yeah, just learning about what they do, the passion that they put into everything, and how they help the animals of the world, is just something that I won't forget, and I feel like it helps to make me realise what I want to do in life. It was a very hot and humid day walking around Australia Zoo. We did have downpours throughout the day. Again, this was something that I just become so used to that it didn't even like bother me anymore. I was just like, oh, it's just another downpour, like that's fine. Just kind of got on with it in the end. I was just like, oh, it's just gonna rain, you know. I just tied my hair up. There's just no way that I could walk around like Australia trying to look glamorous. It just does not work for me at all. I was just hair up, don't care, I look a mess, I've been rained on like 10 times, whatever, like get over it. Yeah, and it was such a good day, and we all highly rated it. We actually went back, got a takeout, and then sort of watched episodes of Crocodile Hunter on YouTube, just because we were like just so into it. So yeah, I highly recommend it. That was amazing. Obviously waking up on day 8, it was our last day. I could not believe that our last day had like come. I mean, seriously, like day 8, guys. Like that's the length of time that I had there. It was a very, very short. We woke up to amazing blue skies. Oh my gosh, like sing for joy. Amazing blue skies in Australia was such a thing, and I proper loved it. We didn't want to waste any time, so we like literally got dressed, headed out into the sunshine, found somewhere to have breakfast, then decided that we were going to do the Brisbane Wheel, which is kind of like the London Eye in London. Where else? So we did that just to get some views in, and then we just had a walk around Brisbane because it's so cute. There's quite a lot going on. It's lovely to look at, and we finished it off with my sister Luke and myself walking over the Story Bridge, which we were going to do the Sydney Bridge, and then we just waited and decided to do the Story Bridge. It is a little bit cheaper. And it was amazing. We did it at night. We did the sunset one, so we watched the sun go down, and I just loved it. Like, if you're not afraid of heights and you want to see the city looking beautiful as the sun goes down, then you need to do the sunset walk over the Story Bridge. It's informative. There's so many steps to climb. You can't wear your Fitbits or your Apple Watches, so you don't actually know how many steps you've climbed, which is a shame, but equally I was still here for it. When it was an amazing opportunity and such an amazing way to end the holiday. It was always sad that Henry didn't do it, but I respect his decision. You know, if you don't like heights, you don't like heights. But yeah, we absolutely loved it, and we just finished our evening off with a takeout. That's where my time in Australia ends, unfortunately. The next day, Luke and I woke up. We had to get a plane from Brisbane to Sydney, and then obviously Sydney to Qatar, Qatar to Gatwick. We flew back into Gatwick, and then Gatwick back, got somebody to pick us up and take us all the way back to Essex. I had 8 full days in Australia, which is not long at all. Like, when you consider how far I had to travel to get there. That doesn't include travel days. Obviously, if I add in travel days, it's like 10. But I don't regret a single second of it, honestly. I think, and I'm such a strong believer of this, and I go back to spending a week in Florida. Like, if you don't have a lot of time, if you're pushed for time, if you can't get the same holiday days as other people and you're going with a group, then do what you can do. And that's what we did in Australia. And like I said, I've had so many people kind of like look at me and go like, that's a crazy idea. You haven't got long. Why would you do that? And I feel like I have done so much in Australia. I don't feel like I let jet lag get in the way. I didn't let 10 blisters get in the way. We literally got up every morning and we just went for it. And yeah, okay, the evenings were a little bit harder because jet lag started to hit at like 5 o'clock, but we still got so much done. And I'm forever thankful for Luke being my travel buddy, who makes sure that we do get everything done. Like, he knows like that I would be so disappointed to come back and not have done stuff. So we did as much as we could in the time that we had there, and I'll never regret it. Australia is such a big place, and I know that I've literally scratched off like a tiny, tiny piece of it. And I do hope to go back one day and make more amazing memories and see different areas. But I'm just so thankful of my time for being there, and I just feel like we did so much. We ate in some really amazing places, and you know, we got to see such wonderful views, and you know, Sydney opera houses and the zoo, and you know, it was so nice that we still travelled. We didn't spend all our time in Sydney. We went from Sydney to Gold Coast, from Gold Coast to Brisbane, and then back to Sydney. And I just think, how amazing is that we've done that within the short time that we had, and it worked out perfectly. You just have to smash through that jet lag, because it is hard, but I don't regret it, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world. So do I think that you can do Australia or a part of it in like 10 days? Absolutely. Watch my vlogs, read my blogs. You know, honestly, I have gone into far more detail on those than I am chatting to you now. But I'm here for it. Like, I would never frown upon like someone's holiday if they were doing something in a short amount of time. Like, I think I could do Australia, like part of Australia, like 7 days. It wouldn't bother me. And that's what I said to Luke. If I only had 3-4 days there, I would still make the most of it. I think jet lag would probably like really kill me, but I would still want to do it. So I'm all for it. Whatever you can do, just see the world, because honestly, like, life is just too short. So I hope this has been informative. I'm going to say for the record, guys, my nose has been really itching me. So if my nose has got redder and redder throughout this whole vlog, it's because my nose is really itching something, that I've got like a candle burning in here, and it's really irritated my nose. So I've really I've been like pausing the video just to itch it. So if it's just got redder, that's why. I hope you found this informative. If you literally have any questions that you want to ask me about my time in Australia, then please do feel free. I was only there at the beginning of this year, so it's still quite fresh in my head. But otherwise, do check out my vlogs. Like I said, you read up on my blogs, that's fine. I've linked more stuff in there anyways. But if you get the chance to go to Australia and you don't have the 4 weeks to go, do it in like a week. You can totally do it, and I hope that I've given you a bit of insight on how to do that. In the meantime, thank you for checking out my vlog. I really do appreciate it. So please give it a like, give it a little thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, because that would just make me super happy. And I will be back with another vlog very soon.